You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
To play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Right, Chris.
All right. Good evening. How the devil are you? Good evening, good day, good morning, good afternoon, good night, goodbye. Hello. Welcome along. I've got to get used to the fact that the camera's there, not there anymore. How are you? If you're just joining us from this morning, I've only just started being able to be heard. But this is LTiD TV from Leicester Till I Die. Thank you for joining us, whether that be on Watch Along or via your favourite podcast platform. If you are watching us on YouTube, do feel free to join in the comments. Just keep them respectable. I'm sure we will have Bit join us before the end of the show. So if there's any mods in, just kick him out. Don't just kick him out, ban him basically. And then it takes him 10 minutes to go off and reset up and come back, and takes us 2 seconds to ban him. But do show respect if you are going to get in with the chat. And please bear with us. A lot of people do go mad and go like, well, you've not put my question up. Not every comment gets shown, unless, of course, you are a member, when we guarantee to show them. Doug is in. Douglas, how the devil are you, sir? It's been ages. And I've got to say to Doug, thank you so very, very much. He's just had me on his show. We've been talking Premier League shirts, which I always love doing. Nothing changes. We're not in the Premier League anymore, and Tottenham's shirt's still shit. What would we expect? Yeah. But thank you very much for still thinking of me when it comes to the Premier League. I've got to let it go, haven't I? I really, really do. I've got to make sure I'm playing with the right knobs there. Otherwise, something could very, very, very much go wrong. But yeah, I've got to start doing this.
Let it go.
We're not Premier League anymore. We are Championship. But you know what? It's a better league, isn't it?
The Premier League? That's so last season. It's all about the Championship here on LTiD TV.
Now that's what I call football.
You hit the right spot.
And no VAR. We can go back to blaming the referees or the weather, whichever one you want to do. We've got a lot to get through, including that match. But no, Doug, thank you very much for having me on. So looking forward to the away version. Geordie is in. Good evening, Geordie. We've paid you the money for Barnes. Both clubs acted professionally, not like some cough Southampton. Who are you after from Southampton? But no, look, it's gone ahead. Thank you very much. It gives us time now to go in and get somebody else. We will be talking about Barnes, whether we got a good deal there. Nate is in. Spencer is in. Terry's in. Good evening, Terry. That's the shirt I want when you finish with it, Chris. Really? Oh, I'm not sure you do, mate. Not sure you do. It's been a long day and 4 shows. But no, we've got a lot to get through. If you want to follow us, please do. Subscribe to the channel. LTiD TV on YouTube. We're over the 2,000 now. I've got to say, I got more people watching the watch along for the match that didn't happen on Sunday morning than any of Leicester City's games. Now, whatever that says about Leicester, I don't know from last season, but it does. But you can follow us there on all our social medias, LTiD TV, or, like I say, Leicester Till I Die. Jay says, Hope you are well. I think we need to be happy that we're getting the Deadwood out. Indeed. I think it is a reset, totally a reset. Livermore, we agreed to fee, then they changed it to, well, what do you mean? These South Coast places, Geordie. They'll regret it. They'll regret it. If you now, all you had to do was go back wearing the red of Liverpool, and they'd have sold you them straight away. You know that. But look, it is the debate show. It's Monday at it's about 8:10 now. I'm doing a time check. I'm actually doing a video show and doing a time check. I'm getting this all mixed up. Let me get somebody in that's not going to confuse me. Dave.
Oh, hello.
I could see you were looking around then, and I thought,
yeah,
you ready for me?
I was just ordering a cup of tea. That was all.
Oh gosh, were you?
Hopefully.
Is the good lady not out blowing tonight?
She's certainly not. What day is it? It's Monday, isn't it? She blows on a Tuesday.
Oh, sorry. Don't be getting my days wrong.
One has to have a routine.
Of course, one does, and she's obviously got her regulars for Bognor on a Tuesday.
I'll mention that. I can't see any income from it.
Do you know? She told me the other day because I was talking to her the other day because you were out, and she said last Tuesday she came back with £5.50. I said, which bugger gave you 50p? She said, they all did. No, that you don't hear on the breakfast show. But,
didn't hear much on the breakfast show this morning, did we?
I was going to say, you didn't hear anything this morning. Thank you. Just stick the knife in there, Brutus, and turn it while you're at it.
It was a Monday.
Let's bring the other one in. He is there sitting patiently. Bradley, how the devil are you, sir? He's going to ignore me because he says he's not called Bradley.
Sorry, Chris, is there someone else in, Chris? Because I'm looking for this Bradley.
I can't see the nice haircut that he's had. That's what it is.
Yeah. Someone hit me with a lawnmower. That's what happened to my hair.
It is nice, isn't it? I didn't notice it earlier, but now you mention it, yeah.
He has, hasn't he? Yeah. Well, now he's hosting the quiz channel. He's decided he wants to, have a more professional look.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've still got the homeless bed. That's me down a bit.
Right, so welcome along, guys. Hopefully, this show's going to go ahead without a hitch. I've had both ends today. I did, pardon, who were misses. I had a Plymouth show at 5:00, talking all about Plymouth and the Championship, and then followed by Doug's Premier League shirt show at 6. I've had both divisions. Can I just say, Tottenham? I don't know how you managed to make your shirts look so awful. I mean, it's plain white. What the hell are you doing? But I've got to say, the world's gone mad. The world has gone mad. Mad, I tell you. Mbappe, off to Saudi Arabia, Dave, for 259 million.
Yeah, we were worried about the Chinese, weren't we? Saudis are taking us over. That is disgraceful. Sorry.
Do you think that? I mean, it's a lot of money, obviously, but
ridiculous.
Were we not saying that about the Premier League when they first came into existence? I mean, and when you look at the Premier League, it was like it's the English football top division. Saudi are trying to obviously build it up, but they're coming from nowhere, so they're always going to have to offer that little bit more because of the fact that it's Saudi Arabia and not a recognised footballing country.
I don't think it's that. I think it's the obscene amount of money that they're throwing around football in the world. And I think it's a worry because they're going to be controlled. I know, the Premier League say we're going to keep an eye on all this, and then Eddie Howe said, well, the transfers will be fair. We all know that's rubbish. Money talks, Premier League money talks big time. So whatever they come across with, the Premier League will accept it.
I do think it's a bit hypocritical of the Premier League to complain about Saudi Arabia, to be honest with you. But Brad, Geordie Toon for life sums it up here. R.I.P. Trevor Francis. We're just talking about it on Doug's channel. The first £1 million player. And we thought at the time, didn't we? Bloody hell, £1 million for a player? Surely not. But yeah, it's gone worse, hasn't it? But R.I.P. a great player.
Yeah, rest in peace. It's always comes as a shock when you lose someone who's very memorable and quite iconic in the game for whatever reason. But you're right with what you say, Chris. It's a stark contrast to what we were surprised at what people were playing for players. £1 million was a hell of a lot of money back then. That was exceedingly, it's not nowhere near the equivalent in rating to what they're paying. But it's just bragging for bragging's sake. That's what really pisses me off, because there's no need to pay him 700 million for 1 year. To apparently, I've already seen other reports saying it's 1 year and then he'll go Real Madrid.
Yeah,
It's just ridiculous. Because he's not going to turn it down, is he? I love how they've said he's okay to talk to it. Like PSG have a say with him arguing for that much money. It's just ridiculous.
It is. But do you have any memories? Well, going back to Trevor Francis, do you have any memories of Trevor Francis at all?
Not really as a player. I wasn't born or was too young for him, but I do remember him managing for a bit. I'm sure I'm thinking of the right one here when I'm saying this. He was a manager. He was, I always remember he had one of them faces that I'll always remember. So I don't know if that's a compliment or a bad thing to be saying to him.
No,
but
we're fine. If that's what you want to say, but he managed Sheffield Wednesday at one point, and he actually got them to 2 finals, FA Cup and League Cup in the same season. He lost them both, but he did get them to 2 finals. And Brian Clough paid £1 million for him, Dave, from Birmingham, but he soon repaid them in the European Cup final, didn't he?
Well, he also did well in the under-21 side, and Cloughy put him in there to start with. He went straight in the junior team, which I think was Brian Clough's way of saying, I may have paid $1 million, but you're not there yet.
No, that's true.
And that was the way Cloughy managed. Mate of mine actually started in Birmingham Academy with him many years ago, and unfortunately Dave, my mate, got his knee done, so he had to retire from professional football fairly early. But it was pretty clear Trevor Francis was going places.
Yeah,
pretty clear.
Yeah.
And I just love watching him. I'm not sure he had his best times for England from memory. I might be wrong, but I just think back to England games. I thought the stuff he did for Forest and that, he never seemed to be able to do for England.
I don't think England were particularly brilliant at that time anyway, were they?
No. Great players, but bad teams, bad managers.
Yes. Yeah. Right, let me just line this up because we've got a few topics to get through. I'll explain this one to Brad because he hasn't actually seen this yet. And I only just literally saw this a few seconds before I came live here. So I think Dave's the one that probably knows more than anything on here. But let me just, I don't think I can make that any bigger, to be honest with you. But the Foxes Hub. So what it is, a place to watch Leicester City live. Dear Chris, that's me, by the way. Supporters at home and abroad can now follow the drama like never before as Endo Margesco and his new look City side set their sights on an immediate return to the Premier League. Foxes Hub will offer live match action plus expert analysis and opinion from a punditry team of club legends alongside exciting guest stars, all covering every twist and turn of the new season. Foxes Hub packages, including early bird offers, will go on sale ahead of the 23-24 season. 5 different packages have been carefully designed to be as flexible as possible for the Blue Army. Listed below, those allow supporters to pick a game of their choosing, circle a particular month in the diary, or to secure their access to live streams throughout the entire season. So, Dave, do you read that we're going to be able to watch live matches?
Well, yeah, but it's not strictly true what they're saying because the UK laws don't allow every game to be streamed. I would suggest that if it's a Saturday kickoff, we ain't going to see it on there. I might be wrong, but certainly we're not. UK viewers will not be able to see all the games. If you're overseas, it's brilliant because there is nowhere to see. As you know, I was in Australia at the crucial time of the season, and I couldn't get any games over there. So it's perfect for
that's
that.
because you were watching it on Virgin.
Yeah, right.
You know, like, I mean, anything on Virgin doesn't go all the way. Thank you.
I mean, I don't know. It needs reading into, but I would think that if you're overseas, then you can watch every game, which is why they put the big season ticket in for the season. But I think if you're in the UK, you'd probably have to go for the £10 games individually because.
Well, it's got here. Yeah, it's got game by game pass, £10 per game, UK and international.
Yeah.
Monthly game pass is international. Seasonal game plan is international.
Right. Yeah,
Audio is international as well.
That's the reason then. Yeah, they're not going to show games that are on Sky. They won't be allowed to, I bet.
Well, no, but it's also not in the Premier League, of course.
Yeah.
Which are on different. How do you read that, Brad?
The thing is, there's a lot of them trying to do it and do it away by any means. It's always notoriously difficult to get streaming services for anything outside what's classed as the big 5 or 6 leagues, i.e. the top division of like Spain, Germany, Italy, England and France. Most allegedly illegal, I'll say the word allegedly for them, streams or actual stream sites that you pay for, they tend to only be able to get an abundance of it. If we're on Sky, you'll actually be surprised, Dave, that usually I found when I was waiting for a kickoff, just to check if it was loaded on, if the Championship had an early kickoff, they were showing it because they actually were able to access it to stream it. That's how they kind of need it to be broadcasting or recording for a show. So like Match Today, obviously record the whole thing and take snippets that way. So you probably find that any games Leicester have on Sky, it might be easier to access, but it's one of them. We won't know until it starts and somebody says, oh, I use this one, I pay for it per match, or someone says, no, if you get the full one, you get all the Championship games. We're not going to know until it starts.
Does go on to say there, broadcast restrictions apply in the United Kingdom and international territories, and therefore not all games will be broadcast on Fox's hub. So if you were to pay and watch every single home game, you'd be looking at 230 quid at £10, obviously, a game, which is a lot more than the 170 or the 140 early bird package for international. But I think they're being fair there, if I'm honest with you, because what they're saying is like, well, okay, this is what we're charging international, and they obviously, if you're internationally, we know you can watch more than in this country, but we're only going to charge you a tenner, but then you're only paying for games that you know you can definitely watch. So, Dave, they're being quite fair to us and saying that, because obviously they're not saying like, well, you got to pay for this game, then, oops, sorry, we can't show you that game. It literally,
no, you're right.
Friday, like this game can be shown. Do you want to pay a tenner for it?
I just think it's a shame when, this year there's going to be tickets available. I mean, I'm already getting stuff through saying tickets are on sale, apply now, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but you had a season ticket last year, didn't you?
Yeah.
You see, I had last year, and I wasn't going to renew it, but I have actually finally renewed. I couldn't do it online, but I have finally renewed my Fox's membership. So I had the email today going, Cardiff City tickets available. Actually being available and actually getting them are two different things.
Right,
now,
okay.
Being a season ticket holder, you may have enough money or enough, not money in the bank, but you know what I mean, credit in the bank, to points and what have you, to get it. Where for me, I couldn't even get a Southampton away ticket last year. So I'm not hoping for a Bristol City one. I'm relying on Anthony getting me one in the home end. But, I mean, Brad, I'm obviously with the Sky matches we'll be able to do as watch-alongs. But when it comes to watch-alongs, and I'm thinking, well, hang on a second. Yes, I have a Fire Stick. Yes, I watch it via that way, allegedly, as most people do. And getting Premier League games was a piece of piss. But, I mean, it depended on your broadband connection as to how good the reception would be. But you could get all the games in one form or another. I'm not sure about the Championship though. So if I can watch it on LCFC TV, it might be worth a tenner.
Well, yeah, I mean that's exactly what it's advertising, isn't it? Like I said, it's outside the top divisions of them countries that I named earlier, like the Italy's and Spain's and that. You do struggle to get any lower league games unless, for instance, there's maybe an FA Cup replay you might get on, or you're on Sky. Like Terry says there, we're probably going to have more games on Sky than most in the Championship, just because of the name, because of our past history. Exactly, we got three already, and the ball's not even been kicked. Quite literally, if you count a game we're going to not talk about, but talk about. And we've only got 3 changed for Sky, so I don't think we will suffer too much. And I think if you're saying it's £10 a match, and you say 1 in 3 games of them are on Sky, you're saying, okay, that's £20 a month. It's not like it's out of the brackets of not being affordable to do a one-off either. So it's good that it's not got like something where they're saying you have to commit, you have to pay this, because you're trying to use that for the games that you can't go and sit and watch in a pub or at home, or allegedly through a perfectly legitimate stream. If they're available on that, you're not going to need it every time. So it's a good service if that's how it offers it, and it obviously isn't going to mug you off and say, oh, thanks for your £10. It's going to take us 7 days to refund it because actually the game you've requested we can't stream you. The fact that you're going to pay and definitely get it is a good bonus, and it's a way to go around it. I think it sounds very beneficial.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's the way Sky started off. I remember getting a phone call from them whenever.
Well, now TV don't they? Every so often they do like a game for $9.99.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Now TV, I used to be with Sky, and then I stopped and I went to Now TV because sometimes Leicester weren't on Sky, so I didn't want to sit and watch. No disrespect, Coventry versus Derby or something. So I actually went over to Now TV, and it used to be $19.99 generally for a game, and then they actually tried to do season packages if you were already used them and all that. So they had got that off, and now I think they're owned by Sky anyway. To be honest with you, but for a tenner, to be honest with you, I think what. It's an 8-hour return journey, 7.5, 8-hour return journeys, depending on traffic. So the petrol, the actual day, the time of because you're setting off early, parking, walking, getting to the food there and back, refreshments, plus your ticket, tenner is a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, just makes perfect sense, doesn't it? It just, like I said, for us to have very little to no chance of getting to a game, or maybe you don't own Sky. I mean, I don't have Sky and all that. I don't bother with them because can't afford to be paying £30-40 a month or whatever it is just to have football every so often be available to me. It's why these services are very advantageous to people like myself. So I totally see the benefits for it, and if it's affordable. And yeah, why not? If it's needed for one match and you really want to see it, and it's available, like you said, it's available in different ways all around, international and obviously for us in the UK. So if you're ever on holiday or I don't know, somewhere like Australia, and your name's Dave, you got a way to pay $10 for it and be able to keep in touch with Leicester games.
Mate.
That was an Australian, I think. But yeah, but I mean.
Dodgy.
To me, if I lived in Leicester and I could always get a ticket, I would not be watching it. I would be down at the ground, and I think most people would say that.
Yeah.
So it is very good for those of us that are away. If you don't live in Leicester, and I mean Terry's just said then about Radio Leicester, that's fine, but you cannot listen to Radio Leicester unless you are in the Radio Leicester area. So I can get radio.
No, but you can listen to it on LCFC.tv, which I think is different.
I was going to say, before I was rudely interrupted.
Sorry, I didn't know if they were the same host or not. That's why.
No, you can't. He's enjoying that. Yeah, I could say to Alexa now. I will be careful because it will light up. Play Radio Leicester, and it would do. I can even get surreyhillsradio.co.uk on my
The musical station for music.
station. So, but once it gets to that, kickoff time, whatever the kickoff time is, you're gone. It's not allowed to. You're not allowed to listen to it outside the area.
No.
You can pick it up, as I was going to say. You can pick it up on LCFC.com, and it's still obviously beat free of charge.
I've always found that very painful to do on the website. The TV thing.
I don't know. Depends what you're watching. I guess.
But it's just a nuisance, and it's so painful to get it on, and it doesn't work all the time. And I don't know. I just found it.
I think that's just a you option, mate, because I used it a few times. In fact, if I can work it, I turn my stream on mute and I put the radio on my computer so I can listen to. I'd rather listen to Matt Elliott and that do the commentary than some of the comments I have to deal with.
Yeah,
I don't think it will though, Terry. I mean, we had that obviously during COVID, but like I say, for me, and I'm sure Dave as well, and Brad, all three of us, none of us actually live within the distance of Leicester City. So these people that say like, oh, you don't go to the games, you're not a real fan, 2 words, the second one is off. Because you get on a bus and in 10 minutes you're at the ground and going in and watching it. We've got 8-hour journeys, haven't we, Dave? Brad, you don't drive, so it's going to be even longer if you were going to go to a game. But if we lived
tickets costing me more to get there than it is the match.
Exactly. But if we lived in the area, I wouldn't want to be watching. I'd want to be there at the ground, And we've all had. Well, Dave's had tickets and he's had to travel up from Bognor. I've had season tickets and had to travel up from Poole. So we have all done it. But
I did ask the question if the wife would be happy to move back to Leicestershire. So I didn't bother renewing my season ticket for the answer.
I can get. Well, I have. Let me just. I don't know if
there's anything wrong with Leicestershire, but
I don't know if it was your bedroom or not. But I saw your room. You sent me a video. Don't ask, ladies and gentlemen. But outside your window, you could see the sea.
Well, it's out the back here,
yeah. And right, why would you go back to Leicester? Nothing awful. Love Leicester to bits, but come on, what I mean? It's not the most beautiful of places.
So if you catch the bus to the game, that would be the reason. But that's not going to happen.
Exactly. Ant says here, people who say you're not fans if you don't go to games can do one, and that's from someone who goes home and away and travels everywhere. You do, and I have total respect for you, mate. The joy of being young and having the money to do it, I guess, but no, and living locally. I don't know where you live, Anthony, but in a little shoe somewhere with all the other children, I'm guessing, because he's only small, is Anthony. We must remember that. But look, moving on before he kills me to the next topic. Harvey Barnes to Newcastle. We knew he was going. Respect to Newcastle. They waited. They didn't want to break FFP rules. Man City. They wanted to be respected. They've sold Saint Maxim. They were then able to come in. We knew it was going to happen. It was just a case of when. It's happened still quite quickly, hasn't it, Dave? So it's giving us time to spend the money.
I don't think I've ever known Leicester to perform so early in the transfer window. Ever.
Is that what your wife says?
No, I've performed all through it. Seriously, have you? I mean, it's always lastminute.com, isn't it? And we end up with the dregs or nobody. But now this is so good that they're actually doing something early on. Whether it'll work is another matter, but I think it's brilliant.
Do you agree, Brad?
Yeah, but it's probably actually more the case for most teams in our situation. And what I mean by that is probably the last time I saw this sort of rapid or continuous transfer activity, whether that's players in or players out, was probably the League One days, maybe that, and the promotion season back up. Because you normally find a big flux and change either comes when you get relegated and you've got you're expecting players to leave. So we knew Barnes was a probability. We knew Madison was a definite. I mean, he was going Newcastle. I don't know what happened there, but Newcastle turned to Arsenal fans photoshopping him into kits, didn't you, Geordie? You like, not you personally, but Newcastle fans did. Arsenal started photoshopping him in shirts when he wasn't there.
I think it'd have been better.
So we kind of knew it and expected it. And then if you look at promotion sides, we've only got to look at Notts Forest last season. Went from the feeding of the 5,000 that I do to the buying of the 30,000 with how many they made in a promotion season. So it is a little bit strange, but it was also expectant because it just seems to be natural that this happens to a club in our situation.
It is, Dave. I mean, we were gonna have to sell. I was speaking to the Plymouth fan earlier, and it does remind me of when we went down to League One. Is that we got a new manager, and I don't expect. I'm not going to be. I think it's very disrespectful to say we're going to come straight back up. I don't think. I think it's not going to be that easy. We're still in a minus situation or a deficit from players that have left to players that have come in. There's been a lot more gone out, but in a way, I think it could do us really good because it's given us a chance to get rid of the deadwood. Had we stayed up, would we still have Mr. Bellend in situ? Would we still have the likes of a Marty? I know that would send shivers down your spine, but you know what I'm saying. We've managed to get rid of these players because they were out of contract, and we went, yeah, we don't want you, not now.
I think it's ironic we're talking about the deadwood when these people got us relegated, and we were hoping for a top 5 finish again, and yet now they're all deadwood. And yeah, I agree. I think we've probably got to start playing more youngsters this year because you're right, going up this year is going to be tough. Some good sides in that division. I wonder if he's still got a few thoughts because there's a few numbers missing. I know it's kind of irrelevant, but if you look at some of the numbers there that are missing, people, I don't know, 4, 5, is it 8, 10, something like that. Oh, no, 8's been taken, hasn't it? 7, of course. Johnny Evans was what, 6?
Yeah.
You can't. I don't
Well,
know.
in fairness, they haven't yet had to put squad numbers, so there's a lot of moving about could happen.
But there's only a couple that haven't got squad numbers, if I'm right.
But there's a fair few. I think I was asked this again on the Plymouth channel, Dave, and we've got the defence pretty much sorted out now.
We've got no strikers.
Well, we've still got 3 strikers at the moment, unless Kelechi leaves. We've got no wingers, Alex. I'll say that. So, but we can now concentrate on those areas. The next guy that's supposed to be through the door is a winger that's coming in. This Arsenal wonder kid. I'll come to you, Brad. I mean, we've still got gaps to fill, but I mean, I can remember under Martin O'Neill, that was when, to me, I suppose that's kind of when the window was sort of starting out, but we didn't used to buy quickly. You used to wait until the end, and we seemed to get 2 or 3 signings in the last couple of weeks. But I'm in a championship chat on WhatsApp, and I've been putting up, we've signed this player, we've signed this player. And everybody says, like, bloody jealous. How come you're signing all these players? And I went, yeah, but this time last season we weren't. But it is good to see. But 39 million quid, 80 million for 2 players from a relegated side isn't bad business, is it?
Bad. It's absolute genius bit of business. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Chris. Did Madison go for what I thought the ballpark figure of him, but for us being says he only had a year left in his contract and he's a championship registered player? Yeah, okay. I probably expected, us to be able to negotiate 40 million for him. I think people knew that we'd want to make out for missing out on getting rid of Yuri Tillemans for nothing. So they were like, okay, we'll pay the 40 million, get it moved, get it done. And then he had to Photoshop himself into a Spurs shirt. So they took away the black stripes. And when I saw Newcastle coming in, and then I heard that West Ham were coming in as well, and then that went quiet, I thought, okay, 1 or 2 things is going to happen here. Either one of them's going to come back in and break and meet whatever our valuation is, or we're we're not going to hear anything else, and all of a sudden Harvey Barnes is going to get his head on, and he's going to be part of the process going forward. Because, like you said, Chris, when you really think about it, we actually haven't got much of first team players that have actually left. It's Madison and Barnes. The rest are all pretty much still in and around the club for the time being. We've strengthened areas. But yeah, when I saw 38, and now it's been reported there's an extra million on there, 39, so 38, 39 million regardless. Do I think that's what Barnes would have sold for in the Premiership? I don't think we've got fair value for him. I think 35 million, if we were still in the Premier League, would have been still a good price. And at the Championship, I expected 20, 25 million at a push to be his sort of selling price. I was not expecting 39 million to be there. So I think it's a great deal all round. Of course, we'll miss him. And of course, you'll miss what he had the potential to do in the Championship level. But it's great bit of business. I think it's genius that Leicester have got, like you said, Chris, just shy of 80 million for two players.
But Dave, we've got to make sure. I mean, we've got to be careful we're not going to throw out the baby with the bathwater. We knew that Maddison was going. We knew that Barnes would probably go. They were our two most sellable assets. Okay. But we've got to be careful. We're going to be talking about them later. But Nacho could be going. Sorry, Brad. Nacho could be going to Forest. Richardo's been linked, away. We can't. Castagna's been linked away. We've got to hold on to some of these players, haven't we?
They'll all be linked away, won't they?
It's 46 games.
Yeah, but they'll all be linked away because we're relegated. I'm surprised.
I don't think there's a player out there that I haven't seen a rumour will link away. Even the likes of Samari and Ndidi have been linked with a move away.
Well,
I mean,
Barnes would have been like prime Henry in the Championship. And guys, don't forget to go, and if you haven't subbed to his channel yet, do go and sub to Ant's Leicester fan channel. It's a really good Leicester channel. Go and check it out if you haven't already. And he's doing the quiz soon. He's doing the quiz.
Hey, Brad.
I think when he gets back off his holiday, Brad said, "He'll get more people in and can go off the leaderboard."
I think with Barnes, we've got the 39 million based on his attacking and his goals. He's a San Maxime that scores goals, only with a product. But as long as they don't expect him to defend, then they'll be fine. No, seriously though, he cannot defend. He has no idea what he's doing when he's supposed to be picking up.
I mean, I know he's not his cup of tea.
I loved him going forward.
But in one season, everybody was saying like, "Oh, he's too selfish." And then he passes the ball. They said, "Oh, he never has a shot." But Anthony says here, Vardy will get goals in the Championship. Glad you still got him. He's got a year left. It looks like he's going to be staying. He is favourite. I don't know if it's the Golden Boot in the Championship or what it's called, but he's favourite with the bookies, Dave, to be the top scorer in the Premier League. Sorry, Brad. Sorry. Surely, he's going to get us a few, but he's not going to be playing enough games to do that, is he?
He's going to struggle to win the Golden Boot in the Premier League, Chris. I'm sure you meant Championship. Yeah.
The fact that my microphone's working, I'm just happy.
It's been a long day, Chris.
I don't actually think so. I think this is one of them.
Brad. Just remember.
I'm just ethically pointing out your mistakes. Don't silence me like you did your music about today. How dare you? You can kick me out again. I'm sorry, Chris. No, I actually don't think so. I think if you're thinking Vardy's going to get the Golden Boot, then maybe there's a reason you shouldn't gamble, because I look at his position in this team right now. Look, Vardy, I'll forever be grateful. He's always going to be a Leicester legend in everybody's eyes, I assume, not just mine here. I have nothing but respect for the guy. And would I rather have Vardy at this club being an impact sub for us and against us? Definitely rather have him for us, because he can score goals. I don't think he will flop by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm not thinking of someone who's going to go score Championship average is about 17, 18 goals to win the Golden Boot in their division. You might get the odd one that completely blows it away with 20, but very rare do you see that. I think Vardy might get 8 sort of, somewhere between 8 and 12 he might get, but I cannot see him because of what I just said. He's going to be an impact sub. regardless of the Kelechi, moment silence for my man crush, or Daka are here or not, we're going to get someone else in. Obviously, they've been heavily linked with the Swansea striker. That seems to be dependent on whether Kelechi commits or careers off.
You work out which one's Brad and which one's Nacho.
I hope I'm flashing accents for that reason. That would be me, but that's a whole different term.
Well, according to what he said earlier, I think Dave's flash is me.
Wow. Well, either way. But no, I think Leicester, like you said, you look at the squad and so far, they haven't had to do some major damage repair in terms of we've only lost 2 mainstay from the first team. It's just one of them. We know we've got players that he's obviously keeping an eye on to bring in if they're replaced, but I just don't see Vardy playing enough to warrant to say he's going to get a golden boot charge.
Why do you think we need to sell a striker to get another one? Why can't we have 4 strikers?
I think we will.
We need them.
4 strikers.
We desperately
Possibly, yeah. I mean, Vardy's in his last year, so you might as well get ahead of it instead of having to plan for it next season.
That's what Daka was for, wasn't it, originally?
Yeah. But then again, Daka never really got, a bit like Nacho when he came in, you can't, if you'd have brought Daka in and gone, right, we're going to give him all the game time and bring Vardy on, people would have gone absolutely apeshit, quite rightly. You can't drop Vardy. And that was Nacho's problem. Once he got regular game time, he was our top scorer. But yeah, so I think 4 strikers will be needed. But just saying what it said then about the flash, that I didn't know if you know that you can now become a sperm donor by post. As soon as I heard that, I came in a jiffy.
The saddest thing is, I knew where the joke was going, and I just
somebody fucking.
Maybe we could live without the wisecracks.
This is what you've released on the people of Leatherhead, Dave.
No, it's scary.
Obviously, not that one at 7 o'clock in the morning.
We got 10 defenders as well, haven't we, or 12, something like that.
I think we've lost quite a few.
Well, Vestergaard's still got his.
Shut up! Don't swear at me with that name, Dave.
Hey, look at Steve Walsh. He was turned into an out-and-out striker.
And Matt Elliott. Look. Oh, sorry. No, it's all right. It's all right. He's past it. It's all right. It's not an important point.
Dave, I want to ask you this. Terry makes a very good point, and I'm not. Well, we've got past the Brendan bashing. I don't want to go on and on.
Well, he's got enough trouble, isn't he, up there? So. Well,
he schools off, sulks off back up to Celtic every time he doesn't do very well. But, he was supposed to be this superb coach that would bring these players through. But when you look at Barnes and Kieran Dewsbury-Hall and Luke Thomas, yes, he brought them through, but he didn't, to my mind, he got them to a certain level and then that was it. He didn't progress them with how would expect somebody of his stature would.
Dewsbury-Hall came back to us, was it from Luton?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, he's pretty impressive that first season. And then he just went off. No? Do you think?
I'm not on about that, mate. I'm reading the comments.
Sorry.
No.
I think Ant's been a little bit of a cheeky bastard.
No, you go for it, Ant. No, I'm with you, mate. It's great up front. It'd be another, I don't know.
Omanoid, will he?
Omanoid.
But you know what I'm saying, though? He got these good players, or these young players. He got them to a certain level.
But that's
stopped,
it. Yeah. You're right. I mean, Hamza Chowdhury, he should have been able to work with him. Instead,
we're going to be coming on to Hamza in a little bit. And
you're right. I mean, there are youngsters there. With
Hamza, of course, he had a superb game. He was man of the match and he was blowing smoke up his arse. Then we never saw him for the rest of the season post Liverpool. But look, let me just ask you both this first of all. Harvey Barnes to Newcastle. James Maddison, and I think I know which way this is going to go. James Maddison to Tottenham. Come to you first, Brad. One word answer. Who's made the better move?
Barnes.
Dave?
Barnes.
I think you are both right. I would agree with you.
I have no idea what Maddison's on. One
No,
word answer.
I think it's London has attracted him. We'll be moving on to the next topic straight after this.
Leicester Till I Die podcasts on the Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, Anchor, and all podcast platforms.
Something is coming. Something big to this podcast.
Hello, Chris.
Yes, it is. It's big. It's me. I'm not big. I'm not funny. But look, I said earlier, I did a watch along for the match that never was. And I got I think I'm on 2.8 thousand views on a watch along that did not have a match to watch along to. And none of the games last season, even the big games for Leicester, got that many viewers. It was painful to watch. And I actually went on Talk TV last night. I was hoping that they were going to send me the clip to show tonight. But they up. What happened there? My
How'd
God.
you do that?
No idea.
Dave, if you can move that quick, sign up for Leicester. You do all right for me on the wing. But I put me up. What was I just saying before that?
You're on Talk TV.
Oh, yeah. And they asked me the question about playing these games abroad. And was it right? And, the time of year we were going, etc., etc. Now, bear with me here because I want to I can kind of sympathise with the club. Because, first of all, they planned this before we knew we were going to get relegated. So we wouldn't have had the Coventry game. We'd have had, a week or so until Premier League kick-off. So, we would have had a gap anyway. And if Leicester want to be seen as and we want to get back in the Premier League and we want to be seen as, a top half side, playing the likes of bloody Peterborough and Burton and Northampton and Colville and all these shitty games, some of them behind closed doors, why shouldn't we be going abroad and doing these big tours? Because that's what the big clubs do. Man United, I've never seen them play Stockport County in the pre-season, certainly unless it's the under-21s or something, And yet, yes, it gives the fans, don't get me wrong, a chance to see the teams like Northampton, and we've always had a big game come to us, haven't we, before we kick off. But if we want to be seen as a team and we want, to build the fan base and to be able to compete, with FFP, we need to broaden our appeal. And the only way we're going to do that is by going abroad. And this was the chairman's home country. He wanted to show Leicester off to Thailand. And that as a PR stunt has gone very, very well. The crowds have come out. Now, Mark Saggers, he said to me, yeah, but you've gone over in the monsoon season. I said, well, that happens to be our off-season. The sweet FA we could do about that. We couldn't go away in December because we'd have had 6 or 7 games. I said, so we've got to go now. I said, maybe if it would have helped if we'd picked a ground that's got a roof on it, as we will do against Liverpool. I think that's got a retractable roof. What annoyed me about it is that at 11 o'clock, which is the kickoff, a decision should have been made. When we play any Premier League games and the decision's taken before the kickoff time, whether that game's going to go ahead or not. They were trying to repaint the penalty area lines, the white lines, in the middle of a monsoon. It was raining and they were trying to paint the lines. It isn't going to work. They were, that famous scene of Steve Lynex when he goes for a swim against Southampton. He could have dived off the 10-foot fucking diving board and come out of one of them puddles. It was that bad. Why it took them 45 minutes to cancel the game, I don't know. That decision could have been made at 11:05. That was, I'm afraid, where we looked like a joke. But for me, would I sooner see us play Tottenham? Would I sooner see us play against Liverpool? Yes. We're going to learn a hell of a lot more. What did he learn against Northampton? Because after 60 minutes, he changed the whole bloody team. So in that 30 minutes, what did he learn about any of the players? He's surely going to learn more. And no disrespect to Peterborough. he would have learned more playing the likes of Liverpool's and Tottenham's. Dave, your thoughts on it?
Going there is brilliant. Yep, I agree. Were the crowds all in when it was abandoned or cancelled? I mean, was there a big attendance? I'm assuming there was.
You couldn't see because it was,
Right. It was too wet.
Of course, having beers.
I mean, the things that
they're having a swim in the main stand.
Okay, so that was clear then. You know, people like Heskey, Matt Elliott. I know the Walshes over there. Who else?
Yeah, they were all over there. Yeah,
Captain Morgan. You know, I mean, yeah, brilliant stuff, and that's what we should be doing. They're taking it, or their task is to send 1 million footballs over there or something like that to the kids over there. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. And yeah, we should be doing more of that because Man United, Arsenal, Liverpool have all shown that if you get support over there, I know China was involved with them, wasn't it? That it just builds your club up. And you're right, it's the chairman's home.
Last time we went there, we didn't exactly leave with,
pride on our face, did we? We owed them one, didn't we?
Yeah, a lot of the locals had something else all over the face. You know, we're back to the jiffy bags, aren't we?
I mean, I don't know when they come back. Do you?
Come back? Hey, well, they've got Liverpool on Sunday.
Yeah, that's not in Thailand, is it?
No, that's Singapore. Yeah. But Ant, look, Brad, let me just say before I come to you, Ant, and I said this to Mark Saggers. He was saying like, well, you know, you're playing over there in the middle of the monsoon. Should you not have known? I went, well, you know, tell that to the ECB. We've just lost the Ashes because of the weather.
Oh,
tell that to Wimbledon, who just lost 2 or 3 days because of the weather to play. I went, sure, sorry, Brad. I know that's painful. But, Brad, you know, you can't... Yes, it's the monsoon weather, but should they, you know, not have... There's no way they could know 100%. And when else can we go?
Well, exactly. I mean, like you said as well, it's not like that's the first time we've gone over. We always go over when it's monsoon weather because it's the only time we can. It's just famous for it. It's called a monsoon weather because that's the majority of time when they get one. So we've gone over there and not had games interrupted by weather before. We won't be the first team to go over there, and we're certainly not the last team to go over there and try and have a pre-season game that gets interrupted by weather. I think there's been a few over the time that have been in Thailand. So, well, it's not like we've just made a random stupid decision and gone, oh, not be allowed. Let's pretend to have a pre-season, but send them out in the monsoon season because we can guarantee the rain. No, we've been over there plenty of seasons when it was supposed to be monsoon season, or it was monsoon season, and we got cracking split in the streets, sunshine over there, and they got all the pre-seasons in. It's not ideal, but it's the way it happens. Yeah. I'm all for it. Like you said, did any of you see the video they put up on the website? You know, with the owner and the manager and all that. Yeah. So it was great for publicity. It's exactly what they need to revamp because obviously due to COVID and the shirt sponsoring issue they had the season before, we've not been able to put King Power on it. You know, they need that as a business and the club itself. So I'm all for it. And I kind of get the progression in ability levels of the teams we're playing on. We know Northampton and Burton's are fitness only. That's why 2 or 3 of them are behind closed doors because they're only doing it for fitness. They're not even really playing the game. It is the Liverpools, the Celtic games when we used to have them and whatnot that we look forward to because that's when we know what we're getting past.
I said the other day that Northampton game was a waste of time. 11, we didn't even know they were playing behind bloody closed doors. You know, we played behind closed doors. I mean, would I travel 8 hours? And I know nobody ever accused me of not being a Leicester fan. Fucking money that I've put in this lot behind me here. And, you know, I've travelled 8 hours with petrol and what we were saying earlier when I've had a season ticket. But would I travel up to watch us play Northampton in the pre-season friendly? Would I fuck? No. Would I travel up to see us play? I wouldn't travel to Thailand either, but would I travel up to see us watch Spurs? And Ant said here, yes, I would, I should say to that. Rhetorical questions. Ant says here, how was it the Spurs side of the ground nearly full? How could you tell which side of the ground it was, to be honest with you? I don't know and I didn't see loads of white Spurs shirts over there. I don't know. the camera never showed this side; it just showed the far side, which was empty. All I saw on this side was people moving backwards and forwards. Spurs are going to be bigger than us, for God's sake. You know, they're one of the so-called Big Six. Therefore, they are getting that publicity from Sky all over the fucking world that we don't get because we're not in that Big Six little cartel. But if we want to be, we've got to be this. Like, I mean, what you're saying there, Ant, is like, well, you know, we're never going to be as big as Spurs, so let's not go. Well, let's stick in the Championship because we're not going to be able to get out because we're not going to have enough fans for FFP when we go up and we'll come straight back fucking down. I mean, come on. You know, you went up to Hull, mate. Respect you for going up to Hull. Would I travel up to watch Leicester at Hull in the pre-season friendly? What the fuck? Because it's the other end of the bloody country.
Well, with the greatest respect, I wouldn't go and see Leicester Hull in a league game away from home, and I know we've got them because some away teams I just have. You know, I'm one of them. I'm a bit meticulous one, so I don't want to be always going to an away ground that I have dull records with. Hull's a horrible team for us to play. I'd rather not.
Yeah.
You know, I'm tight budgeted. I'm not an elite member like Gorinda with my you know, my Rotherhams and that. But there are certain places.
Gorinda.
You what? Sorry, who did you say there?
What?
I said I'm not quite elite like Gorinda.
I am proper elite. No. I am Gorinda.
Blame Brad. Sorry, anyway, Dave, you wanted to say.
Well, I mean, I'm old enough to remember the days when nobody went to friendly games. Or just a couple of hundred and his dog. I remember Leicester playing down at Woking, and living in Leatherhead. That was a great venue for us, but it was only the youth team or a couple of reserves and the odd first team player who was needed match fitness. Nobody really went. The only supporters that went were the supporters of the team we were playing, like Burton or you know teams like that. So I don't think it's a big deal. Whether you go or not, I think it's great that fans do. I must say, because it gives the management an idea,
isn't it?
Well, it is.
It's a spectacle. Because you think about it, free entry to these Northampton games, or maybe a couple of quid at most, is to get the younger kids involved in them because you know you're going to see all the players. Because early doors they're playing two different squads, like Chris said. An hour into the game, another 11 came on the pitch. So that's what you want to see when you're a young age. I mean, I remember. Not as far back as you guys, because I'm slightly younger than you guys. So I'm being kind to you both there, just slightly younger. I remember a local game around.
Miss that then, Brad.
Asshole. I hope it don't happen to you on a radio for 75 minutes again, asshole. Anyway. I remember when I was a little bit smaller than you guys, because you're a bit older than me, that we used to play Hinckley, and it was like a star game because my local primary school, we used to get free tickets to them. You know, you get it given out to the younger ones. The older kids weren't really that bothered. I mean, you're talking years 0 to 6, but once you got to about year 3 or 4, weren't really that interested. But I used to go to them games because it was a chance for your local area to see your big city's main supported team play, and it was free to go. So they used to do friendlies a lot better for the right reasons. I think that's what you have to see him as more.
Well, you've also got to remember one of our friendlies every season is actually played at the same time on the same day. So you got 2 friendlies, and excuse me, I can remember going to Poole Town. And I came down here, and they used to say, we've got a friendly against Bournemouth, and we got a good relationship, the 2 clubs. But it was never the Bournemouth first team. They had like one first team player in it, and the rest of them were all youth players. You think, but everybody from Poole went down to see the so-called Poole players. Anthony, in fairness, said, not what I'm saying at all, just don't understand why we are made out to be massive in Thailand when we are not. I think we can, if we compare it to, are we more massive in Thailand than we are in Egypt or America? You've got to say yes, we are.
I think, Anthony, also that we hope we are, or we'd like to think we are, because of our connections with the past chairman and the chairman now. But he's right. I mean, you know, a lot of those crowds are manufactured, aren't they?
Yeah. And well, Andrew Jonty says a very good point here. Only time I felt embarrassed to wear my Leicester shirt was in Thailand. The locals do not like King Power at all. Really opened up my eyes going. I mean, you went, Andrew. Neither of us two went, so I can't possibly comment on that. But let's be honest with you. I think that applies to any clubs in anywhere, doesn't it?
Well, I think King Power is seen as part of the royal family, and I think that's where the problem is.
I think if you look at there was a lot of fans turning up though. But
yeah.
The split friendlies, no, they're not fun. I mean, 4 or 5 hour return journey just to watch half a bloody team turn out.
Nobody travel that far.
If I want to watch the under-21s, I'll get an under-21 season ticket.
Nobody would travel that far, would they? I mean,
not for half the team.
But I think you have to do something. You have to give everybody a game, don't you? That's the point. That's the point of friendlies, which is why nobody used to go and watch. Because you're not. You don't know what you're going to get.
How many of the people that go to friendlies have gone to the friendlies because I know Ant doesn't, and fair play to Ant. But how many people go to the friendlies to watch the team simply because they can't?
Well, you know what, mate?
They can't get to see a Premier League match.
Yeah, possibly, but I think also the fact that it's their team. I mean, I must admit, when I lived up there, I didn't go to the friendly games because I used to go to all the league games and home and away. But maybe if I couldn't, and Leicester came down and played at, I don't know, Christ, we haven't got anybody down here, have we? Say Brighton in a friendly.
Yeah.
I'd go to that, and I'd go to Southampton. And I'd probably go, I mean, I'm looking forward to the Watfords and things like that, because that's not too far away.
Yeah.
But no, I wouldn't go to them because it's not there for fans, really. It's there to get the players fit. But it gives people a chance to go and see games that they won't be able to see normally. And no matter who plays, it's a Leicester shirt. And I think that's
it is. It is. Ant says there, took his niece to one, was only a game she can go to. And I accept that. And of course, you'd have enjoyed taking her because we'd have both been the same height. Sorry, Ant. Sorry, mate. Come on.
I think Ant's being very polite to you.
He gives it as good. He gives it back when I'm on his channel, believe you me. People don't go to friendlies, that's why many are behind closed doors. Look, do remember, guys, everything that I say on here, not everything I say on here is actually what I think, and a lot of it is to create conversation. But the thing is that you could have 10 people in the same room talking about friendlies. 5 would say one thing, 5 would say the other. None of us are right. None of us are wrong.
It was never a big deal years ago, was it? Seems to be more of a big deal now.
I think it's just because of the whole football thing, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it is nice for non-league clubs sometimes, if they do get one of these better sides, whether it's the youngsters or not, to be able to go and see them. And it's good for the kids. That's the most important thing. There's going to be no trouble, hopefully. They can watch a decent standard of football, and it makes them feel part of it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Terry says here people don't go to friendlies, that's why many are behind closed doors. And Andrew, on the other flip of the coin, 3,500 to Northampton would disagree that people don't go to friendlies. And I have total respect to the 3,500 that went. Just not for me. I'd sooner see us play, the bigger teams, to be honest with you. And I'll tell you something as well. If we invite Northampton as the last game of the season before we start the new season to the King Power to play a game, would they fill that stadium? If we invited, I don't know, Ajax or something like that, which we have been doing for the previous seasons, teams like that, would they fill the ground? Yes, of course they would. So.
And you've got to remember, Chris, these clubs that we're playing against. I know we're looking at Leicester's reputation, and I get it, but you have to understand. People also have to understand as well that away days are wild. It doesn't seem to matter if it's friendlies or not. It's always seemed to be a day out, and you can guarantee that. Sorry, I got something back in my throat then. That's horrible.
That's what you were doing off camera.
No, I was having a drink. And
I don't know what you were doing, but whatever you tell me, I'm going to find it hard to swallow.
Oh, but yeah. I mean, obviously as well, everything's a little bit cheaper. It's a away game, but he makes himself look way too easy, doesn't he? The thing is as well,
that's why.
I know, right?
No wonder that young lady never came back on.
Well, that explains everything. But no,
next week, Wednesday.
The thing is,
Wednesday she's on.
Okay.
You have to remember as well, we're not the only club that's trying to build a reputation. Northampton will see that exactly as you said, Chris. Would we want Northampton to be our big blockbuster, if you will, quote blockbuster friendly game, be it the King Power, be Northampton and Ajax? We'd obviously want Ajax, but it's all done through invitations. You invite these teams to play friendlies. There might not be, but there might be some Premier, Northampton fans that would have gone, well, I'd rather see us play a Premiership club, but Leicester attract. We took 3,500, like Andrew just said there. So they knew they was going to get the pull. They knew they was going to get people through the door. And especially for clubs like Northampton, with the greatest respect in comparison to us budget-wise, they need all the money they can get probably at the start of the season to raise funds while the off-season's going off and make up for that off-season loss, whereas Leicester don't really have to worry about it with the TV revenues they got last season and the positional finishing payment for last season. So we were their big friendly out the door early because obviously their season starts just as early as ours. Am I missing a big friendly? I think so. But if you look at the way clubs have to negotiate paying for it, do we need to be paying for a Real Madrid to come and entertain us? Not really. I'd rather see that money go towards the next transfer if it's a couple of million, which in guarantee in this day and age it is. Nobody does anything for free.
Friendlies with Liverpool and Tottenham.
But they'll reimburse that with the fact that it'll be advertised like an absolute steam train for the King Power, their product.
But we are still getting the big.
We're still getting the big friendlies, but obviously not one at the King Power is what I meant. More than
I wouldn't say Tottenham's a big friendly.
Why? It was so small they cancelled it. They blamed it on the weather.
A little bit of rain and that's it.
We're only a second tier team now.
All I'm saying is, Chris, that you're like this, right? I checked out some stats, right? And you know how we've seen some players over the years fall from grace when they left us. A certain Flopfana, Voldemort, as I call him, the French Voldemort, and Maguire. All I want to say is, now you like your stats, Chris, and I don't, but I'm just going to get my glasses on just so I can read these clearly. I've got these brought up a special occasion. It's Madison's stats against Leicester. 0 passes, 0 created chances, 0 dribbles, 0 interceptions, 0 tackles made. You leave Leicester, you effect. Should have stayed with the grass is green, mate. Had better stats for us when we got relegated. So your Spurs team's going all right. And if anyone hasn't got a clue what's going on, I'm wondering. It's obviously really that bad for you play. But stats fall away when you leave Leicester.
I like the glasses.
It was mentioned earlier.
Oh, yeah. I should wear them more. They're not for show.
It was mentioned earlier, but let us go because it has been announced. The Tottenham match has been replaced
by a better team.
The latest Leicester City news as a behind the closed door match is penciled in before City head to Singapore to take on Liverpool. Leicester City players will get minutes into their legs before they take on Liverpool on Sunday with a behind closed door match organised to replace the cancelled friendly against Tottenham. City will take on top flight Thai side Port FC on Wednesday after their scheduled fixture against Spurs was washed out. So, Dave, they're getting the match. So, yes, they lost the fitness bit, if you like, against Tottenham. But they're going to get that against Port FC. I'm a bit worried that, of course, that they will attack very strongly down the left side. But maybe if we play half of them and half of Starboard FC, they could attack us on both sides.
Well, they might pass it around a lot, Port FC.
You're worse than me. You're worse than me. Go on.
Have you seen how much the Tottenham shirts are?
Too much.
He's doing his total. I'm going to go off and I'm going to talk about what I want. I don't care what the question was. No bloody wonder Katey goes out band practice so often. Anyway,
she doesn't even have a band. She doesn't even play an instrument. She just goes and sees a rubber band shop.
Is it a bottom trumpet or something, Brad?
I don't know. Maybe it's a triangle just to get anything to get away from Dave, it seems.
Ding.
I just asked a question. Have you heard how much they are? About 130 quid, aren't they, isn't it?
Too much.
That's 29 too much. But look, Port FC, so they are going to get a game.
Yeah, well, that's all right.
If I can bring you back to the question that I actually asked, rather than the one you wanted to answer, Rishi Sunak.
You know what? In your words, Christopher, I don't care about friendlies. I don't care whether we play friendlies. If the league starts, that's it.
But do you not think we need again, do we not need the fitness?
Whatever happens, it always takes them half a dozen games to get match fit anyway. Everybody says that. I have no idea why. I don't know whether we don't put enough into pre-season friendlies or whether it's a different game. I'm sure it is. So what's the point in... It's like a training game, isn't it? Mm. You'd be better off playing first attackers versus defenders and the other way around because you get more physical work put in there.
I remember when I was a lad and we played skins against...
And it was next goal wins, no matter the scoreline.
So we were doing all right until Guy had to go home and he took his jumper with him and we didn't have a goalpost.
Yeah.
It was next goal wins if we scored it, yeah.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, I've just realised that Dave actually, I said Rishi Sunak, but he has got to look at Boris Johnson about him, don't you?
Well, he still avoids answering the question, so he's doing that as well.
Let me ask you
no.
Brad, let me ask you the question. See if I get an answer. It is at least a game, isn't it? And then the fans aren't going to see it.
No, that's the problem. But you kind of take that as it is these day and ages. A lot of clubs have behind the door closed friendlies. Sometimes some clubs manage them when they've got a week off because they can't get out of a cup competition, like Spurs. So they have a chance to play a behind the scenes friendly. I'm inclined to disagree with you, Dave. I do see a point to friendlies because you have to put into practice what you're working on, and the thing is, Leicester this season aren't just doing the same old 5-yard passes going backwards all the time with the same 12 players that Brendan seemed to favour out of his full 25-man squad. So not just that though. We're trying a new system. We're trying a new style of play. He's bringing his own methods into that. I mean, we talk about the fact that we've got a sturdy defence. I mean, Castagne's died off a bit. Talks of that. I think Richardo's injury track record put people off. I said that we'd struggle to shift him, and I wouldn't be averse to him staying. If he kind of gets them to do a Carl Walker role, I don't think we need to strengthen the defence. And only be the middle part of the midfield that needs a bit of a buffering, but we've still got them players. But you've got a lot that's going to change, and it might be small little things, but collectively that makes one big massive change. And he's got a style of play to integrate. He's got to find right now, until he knows a player's joining, he's got to try and make players potentially ready to adapt to that squad. And it's all well and good trying that out to someone who's got the handbook in front of them going, okay, so when he goes left, that means they're doing this. And when we go middle, that means they're doing this. So we know how to prepare for our own attacking defence. And that's why they do that. What you need is an opposition to see how they handle you playing it. Yes, we want to progress that quality with the greatest respect to this Thailand side. And we would have got that, all kidding aside, playing Tottenham and whatever team Liverpool end up putting out against us on the Sunday, as long as the monsoon's gone by that. So I do see the purpose behind them because of that. You want to go and showcase that to everybody. Everybody gets excited because it's not the dull, depressing Brendan days. We're seeing some attacking football, some intent from the players, and we're kind of seeing what we're going to see throughout the season, like the style of play, our intent, and how we're going to go about business. And we're also seeing how teams maybe, look at us and go, okay, how do we combat this? Because 1 minute we think we're doing this, and then, how we go about it makes us see how easy it is to stop us. And if it's easy, we need to work on something else. And that's where I think playing against oppositions at any level just helps you put it into practice.
Yeah. I was just quoting Chris.
Sorry?
I was just quoting you.
John T, I don't know whether what you said is true or not, but I can't see anything up there, and to come on with comments like that, I'll put you in timeout. Next time, mate, you get banned. It's just saying here. I've lost it now because I was looking at that. Here we go. No, it's this one. Reorganising the clash with Spurs was not possible. So with Spurs already in Singapore, they played the country's national team on Wednesday. There was confusion around the game against Port FC, with the Thai club announcing the fixture on their social media channels and then taking down those posts. But the game will go ahead. However, no fans will be able to attend. I think the fans should be allowed to attend, especially if they've paid for tickets. I presume they're going to get a refund. But moving on.
Not long, is it?
Steffi, I always want to say Graf. Mavididi to Leicester. Good business or a desperate measure, Dave?
Who the hell's that? Have I missed something?
All right. Who the hell is that? That's so good. I love people that come on here and do the homework. He is the Arsenal wonder kid. You said you wanted to talk transfers.
I've not heard that one.
He is, well, 2 days ago, he was going to sign on the day, apparently.
I don't take much notice of all this gossip. I mean, so much comes in the
Well,
inbox.
it is, but that is the gossip, unfortunately. But
why would this? Well, on loan, I guess, is it? A loan?
No, he is an ex-Arsenal youngster who didn't really get into their team. He went to Juventus, I think it was, for a season and only got like half a game. He's at Montpellier now. He's a winger. He's going to be a lone winger because now Barnes has gone. But I mean,
you can still play Kevin.
Well, we've got Kevin, of course we have, and we love Kevin, don't we? But you know, he can't go on forever. Well, let me come to you first, then, Brad. Give Dave a chance to Google.
No, I was just getting a message about your show. That's all. See if it went out. Carry on.
He's been scrutinising and reviewing you already.
No, I'm just getting these fans contacting me.
People actually didn't know it went out. Oh, anyway. Brad, do you know about him?
No, I don't. I don't. I'm like Dave. So many.
Right, well, ladies and gentlemen, potential new Leicester signing, Stephen Mavididi, has reacted to Harvey Barnes' departure from the club after the England manager joined Newcastle. Mavididi, who looks set to join City in a move from League One side Montpellier, posted a crying face emoji in replies to Barnes' social media post announcing the toughest decision of my life. I'm leaving my boyhood club. It could be interpreted as disappointment on Mavididi's part that he won't get to link up with Barnes again at City. The pair had previously played together for England's under-20s. He was, like I said, I'm quoting newspapers here, super kid when he was at Arsenal. Look, we need a winger. We know that. Let me bring the Waldorf and whatever it is, the two Muppets back in.
Pearl's a winger, isn't he? Isn't he good?
Fuck's sake, Dave. Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
Bloody awful. Look, even by my standards, that was bloody awful. We're desperate for wingers, aren't we, Dave? We're desperate for them in whatever form.
Yeah. I'm
not saying obviously that he's going to play wingers, but we have got Kevin, but you know he can't go on forever. We do need wingers. We know Lookman isn't going to happen. Well, it's not going to happen. Obviously, we missed the boat there, but we desperately need wingers. We've got to get somebody in and give them a bloody chance.
Well, yeah. Do we? I don't know. Do we play wingers at all? I mean, to be honest, even last year, we were so narrow, apart from Barnes, that you wonder whether it achieves anything.
But then again, did
Bayern scored a lot of goals in comparison to everybody else, but it didn't actually make that many. Although I think his assists were supposed to be quite good, but I can't remember them. I don't know, mate. I really don't know. I think we could fall into the trap of buying another winger for the sake of it and ending up with what's happened over the last 3 or 4 years.
I
don't know.
Do we need? We've bought these wingers in, Brad. We had Lookman. We know is the one that got away. We had Under, who went over and out. We've had Diabat. We've had all these wingers coming in, but are they being given a chance?
No, not really. Diabate hit the ground running in an FA Cup game. Don't remember him playing for us again.
Mighty Peterborough.
Yeah, well, yeah, but not many people can say they came on, made a debut for Leicester and scored 2, no matter who it's against, even if it was against bloody Wycombe Wanderers, but we don't talk about that.
Did Barcelona Musa do it against?
Oh, that was Musa. That was Musa. Yeah. So, and then we've seen 400k go out to Mahrez, and he didn't play for half his first season. Now, not what happened. The story told itself how he goes. So for every bad decision, made a good decision. It felt like a necessity in the Premier League. I know if we're going to go off this mantra that Enzo's going to use the Pep guidebook, if you will, there probably is. But from what people were saying about position changes in pre-season, there's rumours that if we do keep hold of Kelechi, he might actually play like sort of Shinji Okazaki did for us. He might play like a false 9 sort of role where he holds that ball up, and we still have technically Vardy as our striker, but maybe it'll be more of an inverted backwards sort of triangle sort of thing where we'll have somebody on the left, somebody on the right, and then Iniacho picking up around the box. Again, that depends on if he stays or moves on, of course. But
do you think he will play with wingers?
I'm not overly convinced they'll be your traditional wingers. You think wingers and you think sticking to the touchline. I think they'll be more like what you'd see sort of called left forwards and right forwards, which is the difference between a winger and a right forward is, Grealish will fall over, but that's a different perspective. As a left winger, he gets the ball deep, he drives us to the edge of the box, and then he supplies it into the box from the edge of it. Eden Hazard was one of the best, what I would call technical left wingers, but I'd call him a left forward because he'd still drive to that box, but like sort of what Barnes did as well, he has that ability to cut in and actually attack the goal and not be a supplier. And that's the difference. You get a collective of goals and assists from that position more than you do one or the other from being out on the wing. You're either scoring incredible goals or assisting. So I don't think we need a natural winger. I think we need an inverted winger, if you will, or a left forward, whichever you want to refer to him as.
Yeah. Good evening to Neil. He's in from Beyond the 90, another great Leicester channel. Ant says, I remember him hitting the back of the Kop against Arsenal. Oh dear, bye. But you see, I can say all these problems as I think, and I feel sorry for the likes of Daka and Perlo, whoever else comes in. He's not as good as Vardy. And we've been comparing everybody. Well, he's no Mahrez, is he? Well, nobody's in Mahrez, are they, Dave? Mahrez was Mahrez, probably one of the best players that's ever pulled on a Leicester shirt.
But as Brad said, not for the first year, because he was being compared to the Frenchman.
Knockout.
Right. Did he miss the penalty? Watford. Yeah.
We don't talk about that friendly. It wasn't a playoff semi-final. It was friendly. We don't talk about it, Dave. It's banned from this channel.
Okay. So nobody fits in straight away, but I think they can.
But they're not being given the time these days, are they?
Well, Samari has.
But I do feel. Yeah, I feel that the refresh.
Well,
sorry, Brad. Just say Samari has he because he hasn't been given like Kelechi hasn't been given the game time. And if he goes and he goes, but I've got to say, Kevin Keegan, when he went from Scunthorpe to Liverpool, didn't go straight into the first team in those days. No. He had 6 months or so in the reserves when they had reserves. Would Soyuncu be the player that he turned out to be for us? if he hadn't had that year in behind the scenes before he was replaced Maguire. But these players, Samari, is he? He was never played the way that he was played, or the type of player he was. He wanted a box to box midfielder, Bellend. So why didn't he bloody buy one? But we'll see if he's going to come in. Everybody thought that he was going to be part of the new kit launch, and he wasn't. But we'll have a look. But moving on, this one you loved this before we came live. Nice to see you. Nice, Brad. Richardo linked with his old club, Nice. Can we? I mean, to me, it takes the biscuit. Thank you. This is what they want. As Tiswas fans will know, this is what they want. I mean, how many of the so-called first-team players can we let go? It's all right bringing new players in, but you've got to keep the nucleus of a team there, surely.
Yeah, I think.
This is where you've. Oh, sorry, it was Dave.
No, go on, Brad. Sorry, mate.
I thought Chris said my name first, not yours. So
yeah,
which one?
Dave
okay. So stop, Dave.
It doesn't know
Dave.
It don't bother me his name.
Yeah. The thing is, this is where you've got to look at the depth we've got, and not just like the quality of the depth we've got. I mean, first of all, we don't know, where other people can play in that sort of position from centre backs. Because if he's going to play three, then essentially we do need to make sure we've got two very strong first team wing backs and two capable replacements to go on. And potentially play alongside him if he goes for a 5 at the back and then he pushes them in midfield. So you're looking at depth in that area. Luke Thomas, it's probably not the way we intended, but it's probably ideal that he's going to get a season in the Championship. You've got Christensen, who's not going to go anywhere. He's barely 8 months into his contract at Leicester, and we don't need to sell. People need to remember that when we're not it's not like a fire sale at Leicester. It's more, we're going to have to get rid of some of these deadwood and big purchase names, which we're doing. So you've got two players. You've then got JJ, who's been back because some bellend didn't register him. He wasn't able to play for the last 3 months, but he was back and working on his fitness and back up to full fitness there. And then you've got Castagnet and Richardo. So we do have potential to get rid of one of them 5, because you're not necessarily going to require all of them to play in that position. Now, in talent wise,
if only we had, I don't know, a Ghanaian utility player that could slot into that.
Yeah. Some what was he? Was he number 18 shirt wearer? First name Daniel, last name Amati. Dave's favourite player. That was a badge. I remember him because of course, he was an African Cup of Nations winner.
Yes,
so you can't rule him out.
Yeah.
But I think it's a tough one because people will instantly say Richardo hands down walks into that team and he'll help us, have a really good season in the Championship because of his quality. My argument would be out of the 5 of them, who's the most injury prone? Who's the least dependable on their body holding together and not breaking down? And well, unfortunately, it's Richardo.
Yeah.
So in terms of value, and who do I keep who's not just going to be good enough for the Championship level, because all 5 of them are, even down to Thomas and that, they all 5 of them are good, very much good to be in the Championship. Not too good, because otherwise we'd have stayed up. I'll never say they're too good, because we wouldn't have got relegated if they were too good. But they're very good quality for the Championship. Do you get rid of Richardo and take him while he's still got a bit of value to him? Knowing that if Nice really do want him, they're probably going to meet somewhere in the middle or pay our valuation of him. Or do you then look at somebody else and get rid of him? Because you want to keep hold of him, but it is an area where we could afford to lose one. And I think people maybe need to take a look at it in depth more than just keeping him because he's talented. If I was the manager, I'd be very unpopular because I'd be getting rid of Richardo, I feel. Dave Castagnet
or Richardo, who would you get rid of?
Probably Richardo for the same reason.
Really?
We've had no.
I thought I was going to start talking about JJ just to go off topic.
Well, I'm obviously the odd one out here, so I'll go. Goodbye.
Yeah. No, I
removed the wrong person then.
No, I was going to say, you just hate me, don't you? It's just the same.
I think it's no good having players on your books that you can't guarantee, 30 games from.
And what's he on? He's got to be on 80 grand a week, hasn't he?
But if we're only going to get 10 games a season, it's sadly, I mean, I love the guy, but sadly, he's got to move on if we can.
You see, to me, Castagna, Ricardo's the better player when he's fit.
Yeah, hands down. If it was done on that and he didn't get injured, Chris, I wouldn't even be considering Ricardo.
When he's fit.
Yeah. No, I accept that.
Castagna's been pretty good for us at times. I mean, he,
except for when he got attached to FaZe's arse.
Well, yeah, but
that is the thing. See, that's the thing, that if he's going to play as a left or right back, play in that fucking position. You're not a centre back, but he did. I mean,
you know what? I don't think we played left and right backs half the time. This was my argument.
Just played 7 defenders, mate. At some point,
I have actually got a video of Wout Faes and Timothy Castagna playing. Now, you may remember this from the Spurs game.
Start rumours like that, you'd be in trouble. You know that, don't you?
Allegedly.
He never played wide. Even when Thomas played on the left, he saw whoever it was out
but when
there.
when you're playing, let's say at right back, and their left midfielder is coming down, you need to be in that left back position.
Never
you don't need to be in the penalty box.
Never happened.
No, but you should.
Yeah, but we didn't. With 2 fullbacks, we didn't do it.
No,
so
but when that person is not picking up the runner and he's gone into the centre, and then that runner can get the ball and has got time to cross it over, you're in the doo-doo, aren't you?
Yeah, and we were many times. But that's the manager's fault, because clearly the players don't think that way. They thought they were just told to stay inside. So
yes. Terry agrees with me. I've always liked that man.
Of course he does.
And I've got to be honest with you, Ant. I mean, what a big personality he is. And I've always said that. Never with me that I say Ant's small or anything like that. Love that man.
It's about the injuries. That's all it's about, as Brad said.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, it would be very if we had room. If we did bring in one more, I wouldn't be adverse to Castagna going for the reasons them guys are making in yourself, Chris, because it was out of position again. Dave's right.
That was Wout Faes and Timothy Castagna.
It really was. And again, it might have had a lot of influence on the way the manager was getting us to play at that point. I can agree with Dave on that point. But yeah, he was attached. He does look disinterested. But I can't help emotion in terms of how they're feeling about wanting to be or not. If you're asking me on a purely skill to an injury clean record basis, and I can only get rid of one, it's Richardo first, Castagna second. But if we did get another right wing back, get rid of them both for all the reasons given.
I've got to say to both of you,
your opinion is wrong.
Why not? It's football. Everybody's
delayed. My phone's delayed. It's only just started playing what it was. I don't know what you said.
Your opinion is wrong. It was the...
Well, I thought it might be that one.
Yes. Well, I don't like to disappoint you.
I thought you said my onion is strong.
Well, I can smell you from here, mate. Don't...
I thought.
Stinks out of pong, something like that. I didn't hear it.
Right, we are going to be back with... with last 2 topics straight after this.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Terry said here, the manager made it clear players can go if not happy. Yeah, we don't want to keep anybody, but of course what we don't want to do is just sell them because somebody's coming knocking at the door. We've got to try and keep hold of players, surely. Otherwise, you could lose. What if half the team turn up, knock on the door, and go, "Look, mate, I don't want to play. Sorry, Enzo, I don't want to play in the Championship." Oh, you can go then. We're playing in the five-a-side league.
I wouldn't be adverse to it if they're being honest and say, "Look, Championship. No offense, Gaffer. Don't care for you and the Championship. I'm not interested." But off then. If it happens all the time. If say for example, Chris, and you'd know this, say you have to do some downsizing, and your options were get rid of 2 people because you told you either need to cut your squad down, or you tell somebody they have to be on less wage because we're shrinking the business, and they go, "Oh well, if you're not going to pay me what I'm on now, then I'm not interested for you." You're not going to say, "Oh no, well stay. We want to keep you." You're going to tell them, "Okay, fine. There's the door. I'll find someone else who do your job." I'm asking to. I'd rather, it's a good sign in a way that a lot of players are at least still here, or at least willing to see what this new manager is going to offer and do, and that because, it's good to see that we're retaining players, and the fact that we've not got like 19 players. But if someone said to me in his scenario, "Look, not playing in the Championship, can't pay me enough," I'm like, "Good, I ain't paying you nothing. There's the door. We'll find you a club."
17 of you in, 8 likes. Please smash that likes, guys. Ant says the same. As podcasters, if you like the video, basically people that don't subscribe will see it appear on their homepage more likely because the more likes you get. It's all to do with algorithms and all that. I don't mind algorithms as long as they come with chips. But Dave, we've got him back, but he might be going again. Hamza. Southampton are interested in him. Sell him. What do we do? Extend his contract?
Yeah, I would. I think if he's calmed down a bit. I mean, he's had a good season in the Championship, hasn't he? So he's used to it.
Watford fans haven't been overly impressed with him, apparently.
Well, they're not overly impressed with anybody at Watford, are they? To be fair, but
especially not managers.
No, the fact that he lasted all season was quite something, wasn't it? Really.
Indeed. But I think he just needs somebody, to sort him out, like Enzo. I mean, if he can calm him down a bit, teach him how to play there, he'll be all right for us. And Southampton, what do they want him for?
They've held on to a lot of players, haven't they? Not really been sort of the fire sale, have they?
They're going to lose them, though, aren't they? I mean, there's no way they're going to keep 3 or 4 that they're Premier players. That they're not going to stick around. I wouldn't think.
Can you name me 3 or 4 Southampton players that are Premier League standard?
No, but I know that 1 or 2 people that could.
What's
his name? Hyphen is.
Ant makes the point there, Brad should not consider selling to any promotion rivals. Do you consider Southampton a promotion rival?
I think naturally you do, just because of their longevity in the Premier League. They were there longer than we were and have been over history. They're going to be favourites because they came down with us. I know we're the head favourites. That's understandable. And I know they don't have the money to sort of spend the way we do. I'd be very surprised if all their talent stayed there, but I still think, they're going to be... I think us and Southampton, out of the 3 teams that went down, are the least concerned about needing a mass clear-out to rebuild. It's more of a refine and redecorate, if you will, than it is a demolish job and rebuild. I said to you, the only circumstance I would have Hamza Chowdhury at Southampton, and even then, I wouldn't want him helping them out in a promotion push altogether. But if you said to me, look, Samari's going nowhere, indeed he's going nowhere, we're signing Winks, we're getting somebody else who's potentially winning midfield. Like I said, if Iheanacho is going to get converted to a false 9, that's essentially 5 midfielders in that bracket. He may want to push one of these wing backs into that midfield like he did with Walker and other players that I've had. If you again, the Man City mentor, the tag's going to stay with him, might as well abuse it ourselves. But if that sort of happens, he's going to have a lot more players to play in that position. Best case of that scenario, don't sell him, loan him, so he can't play against us. At least we have. At least then we're saying, yeah, that's fine, but you can't play against us. And he's not going to be the worst option to lose because he's just fallen off a cliff because of his seemingly random fallout with Brendan, who went from saying he was Mascherano to treating him like an uncooked mashed potato ready-made meal. Discarded him.
Yeah. Dave, I mean, I read somewhere today that they were saying, had we stayed in the Premier League, that he would have gone already. But because we're in the Championship, he's the sort of player we need. Now, I've never been his biggest fan. To me, you had, let's face it, when everybody was at the peak, you had Ndidi, you had Mendy, you had Chowdhury in that order. Ndidi's gone off a little bit. Well, a lot, let's be honest with you. Mendy's gone, unfortunately. We all wanted to keep him. So Chowdhury, I can't understand why. We don't know, honestly, what that bell did. I mean, that Liverpool game, we won it 1-0. He playing out of position in the back of defence when he had defenders on the bench, and he had a fantastic game. And he was going off, and he was pointing at him and saying how good he was, like Brad said, the new Mascherano. And then we never saw him again for the rest of the season. To me, he gives you that grit. And how often have we said, and we said this a little bit with Samari, that there's always a booking in Samari, but then again, we moan if there's no grit in the midfield. Hamza gives you that. Yes, he's got to kind of rein it in a little bit, because let's be honest with you, he's always got a red card in him. Maybe he's done that at Watford, or maybe Enzo will get that out of him. But you sometimes need somebody that's going to go, you shall not pass.
Yeah, I think
that player.
I think when he played for us before, he's obviously young. He doesn't think. It's a bit like Faze when he, those own goals against Liverpool. I mean, inexcusable, really. He said it was unlucky. It wasn't unlucky. It was just bad defending, and that was his problem. That was Chowdhury's problem. What?
Bad defending?
Yeah. If you see his body angle and everything else and his positioning,
Brad, you might want to go and have a poo and come back to this one. We're going.
No, I'm sorry. If my defenders behave like that, they get a right bollocking. I tell you.
Hang on, this is exactly, Brad. This is my boss here. I'm going to watch it, Chris.
You watch it again. You watch him again and see. Okay, there was one that was a little bit harsh, but
that first one where it came off him and went up over Ward's head, the first own goal.
Yeah.
If he hadn't tried to clear that, and the opposition player had then got a crossing and scored, he would have been roasted for that.
But the way I'll just say, have a look again, because my first view was that it was bad defending, lucky or not. But anyway, the point was we're not talking about him, are we? But I think
no, but you're going to get one of these anyway.
Your opinion is wrong.
Chowdhury, very similar. He didn't know when to tackle. His timing wasn't great, and that's what hopefully he's learned different in the Championship.
Yeah. I tell you what, Brad. I think we're going to have a bit of this in a minute.
It is about to go there.
No, you just look at it again. Trust me. At least one of those own goals was bad defending.
Moving on.
Or we could blame the goalkeeper.
But we do need, don't we, though? We do need the... Well, of course it was Ward's... Oh, Brad, that was Brad. That was nothing to do with me.
I don't know nothing. Man's right. It was all Chris. Blame Chris.
There we go. I'll bring you back, Dave.
As you say, Chris, it's an opinion.
It is.
Yeah, but yours is wrong.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have another look.
Another
look at those goals.
Can I say, if anybody's listened to surreyhillsradio.co.uk between 8 and 10 weekday mornings with the cuddly cornflake Chris, and it doesn't work in the morning, it's because this person here will have pulled the plug. That's what it will be. But but we need that grit to me, and Hamza brings that grit.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, especially in the Championship. Yeah. Some old pros in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you said talking about old pros. I mean, Ant is agreeing with you, Dave. He said you could hear Danny Ward calling it from the away end. Faye should have been nowhere near the second ball. No. I don't know. If he called for it, he called for it. But then again, I don't think they had that much trust in him anyway.
Well, you know what? And that's not the only time it happened. There's a few times when Danny Ward called for it and they didn't leave it. You know,
all I'm going to say in that scenario is, just to keep the peace here, is when Iverson was in goal and he called for it, they fucking left it.
Wow, there you go.
So how many clean catches did Iverson make, and how many times did Ward not get trusted? Sometimes some corners, Dave. I tell you what, I'm going to use you. Go back and watch some of the corners when Danny Ward's in goal, and see if he gets pushed out of the way by his own players, because they'd rather header it down than Iverson. Because Iverson, mate, was the cleanest catcher I'd seen from a Leicester goalkeeper. Oh, probably way back when. If you told me a goalkeeper that was so good at collecting the ball, I know he had his moments where he wasn't the best. Who was that?
Danny Ward started off like that. And then when you can't trust your defence to leave it, it's not that easy. You're not sure whether they're going to leave it or attack it or where it's going to go. If you're confident in coming out to collect the ball, you know they're going to leave it, then that's half the battle.
I can see... And I can agree a little bit with what Dave is saying. And I also can agree and see a little bit of what Brad is saying.
Oh, that's nice.
There's only one way to sort this out. Hi! For those of you that remember Harry Hill.
He's not dead, is he?
No.
Oh, okay.
But he's not on the telly anymore, is he?
Oh, isn't he? I don't know.
No.
God, Dave, that went dramatic quick, didn't it?
Have they not got teams? How many channels have they got in Bognor?
Did he ask you how much?
One, it's the water channel.
Yeah, can't watch things like that.
No, I don't think you can, honestly.
Follow's too big for me.
I'm looking desperately for something here, and I can't
Are we
find
keeping Hamza or not? I don't know.
Brad, we need that grit, don't we?
Yeah, you do. You go alongside Samore. You definitely play them both.
I'll give this one to Dave.
Boom!
There we go.
Thanks.
Yeah, we need that grit.
Yeah, you do, and I think that won't be an area that, if he's going to be that sort of anchor midfielder, the sort of go between the defence and the midfield, depending on defending duties and attack duties, where he'll push through. Samore, Mavididi, Chowdhury, it's another position that saves on the expenses in just pointlessly going out to get a competent and competitive player to compete for that position. We've got 3 players that can play that role. He's clearly going to use that role. It's very Yaya Toure-esque that he's asking them to do. So why just give away an option to go and help someone else get promoted, or at least attempt to get promoted in Southampton, or keep him? I mean, unless Enzo's tried to see something about him and goes, look, you're not going to change. You don't care for me or whatever. I have no need for you, then I'm going to let it go. I mean, in the process, we must trust. That's what I would say.
For Ward Prowse or something like that.
Something tells me that might be a bit of a stretch to do. We'll give them Hamza Chowdhury and we'll bring in the wish order David Beckham of free kicks. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm surprised he wasn't snapped up straight away.
Yeah.
But apparently the only club that came in for him was like a £600 million debted Everton.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Very, very quickly, before we come on to the final bit, which is a quick one anyway, Ant has made a very good point, and I know that's a shock to everybody, Ant making a very good point. But he says here about Sammy Braybrook, and we do have to remember, don't we, that we have got a very good, some very, very good prospects. Yeah. Alves, Braybrook, what you call? I mean, that on the wing against Northampton.
No.
Yeah, him as well, both of them. He looked really good against Northampton. Dave, did you see it at all?
No, I didn't know.
Brad, did you see it?
We did the sort of mini post match, and we did talk about it because I got yours and Craig's view on it, because I didn't actually see much of it at all, to be honest with you. But again, yeah, he does. I can't believe I'm saying this. There must be something wrong with my brain today, but I'm agreeing with Ant in that sense, because this is probably the best chance you're going to get into blooding these into the first team.
Yeah.
You know, we're always saying, well, when did I make the step up when we're a Premier League side? I mean, it's a bridge to gap. It is a bit of a bridge to gap. But if you can essentially, make the most of the situation we're in, we're a Championship club. What a better time than instead of sending these guys out on loan to a Championship club, which we may have done with Braybrook and Alves, especially to give them competitive football, we can actually do that whilst we're in the division and already get them up to our way of playing. So we've got to remember we've got that depth as well. So yeah, there's 3 extra players that can fill the gaps that any player leaves behind in a sense. Because Braybrook, until his injury, was in that team, wasn't he? He was in the European days as well, Chris. Some of these players.
I said, I'm not sure which show it was on, but they were saying about was I happy with the signings we'd made? And the thing is, Dave, I was saying, well, we haven't made a lot of signings when you compare to how many have been released or we've sold, and we're in a deficit. But we don't do, are we relying too much on, well, we've got to sign, when we've actually got, Braybrook, Alves, coming through, because, they are the Thomas, the Chilwells, the Bar, the KDHs of now.
A bit older as well, aren't they? A year older.
Yeah.
They're perfectly capable. I mean, they're quality players. So, I think we use them without doubt. I think that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
Because, as Brad says, I mean, if you can play them in your team and get them used to the way he wants to play, then if we do go up in the next couple of years, you'd like to think next year, but then they'll be in there, ready. I think it's perfect for them. I really do. I mean, we always used to do that at Leicester, didn't we? We were always the ones that are the 16-year-olds or the 17-year-olds coming in.
Heskey.
Well, all of them, yeah. Joe Chim, the lot. I mean, even before that, Buchanan, all those players, even Lineacre.
What, Neil Buchanan, the art guy? I didn't know he played for Leicester.
No, Dave Buchanan.
He's non-artistic, brother. I said artistic for anyone hears that wrong.
but we had all.
I'm just shaking my head at the first attempt at a joke.
Nearly went straight over his head, didn't he? I'm not sure if it did completely, but there we go.
But let me ask you this then. Again, an extra question before we come to the final one about the strip.
No, I won't strip.
I got. Oh, look, we could all be naked from the waist down. No, Dave. No.
That's not what he meant by lower the camera.
Oh, okay.
My God, I tell you what. Mind you, no, you carry on. It makes me feel thin. Sorry, mate. I jest.
Okay. No, please don't. What was the question?
I've forgotten. Right. I've been asked this. I did a Blackburn Rovers chat yesterday. I did a Plymouth chat today, and they've all said, what's going to be your hopes for this season? Now, I gave 2 answers, my hopes and what I would be happy/unhappy with. Come to you first, Dave. My hopes would be we get promoted. I don't particularly give a shit whether it's first or second, but I would hope to get promoted. But if we finish top 8, I will be happy this first season of going down. Because if like Dan said this time last year, if we have that extra season down, it means that we go back up stronger. It's like if we'd beaten Watford in that game, would we have stayed up? We came back the next season. My God, we stormed it, didn't we? So if that means that, I would be anything below 8, I would be disappointed with. I'm not going to lie. Dave, what about yourself?
Well, I suppose I'd take the playoffs, but I wouldn't be satisfied with that because it's such a painful experience, isn't it?
Well, yes.
But I think...
As we know from that show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I think this manager, hopefully, has got the experience of... I mean, he is Pep's child, isn't he? And he's got the experience... Yeah. He's going to be good for us, and he's going to be good in the Premier League for us. And why shouldn't we look for that? If we were anything outside the playoffs, I'd be gutted. Really would.
Okay, you're aiming a little bit higher than I am, Brad.
I hope that right until the end, I'm not going to sit here and say that we're going to blow the division away because you just don't know how certain teams are going to prepare. I mean, look at Luton Town who have just come up. I don't think you ever thought realistically they'd had a few bites at the cherry and you thought, oh, well, surely that's the season they fall off and they're now in the Premier League. So someone can always upset the apple cart in that way. I hope we're always in the talking of at least the top three. Because the last time we walked the division in a generous sense, it was Burnley, QPR. And we did start behind the 8 ball. We played catch up to them. I think at one point we were 7 or 8 points behind and we caught up, overtook them, never looked back. I wouldn't be too adverse to a similar season to that if we were going to go up at the first attempt. I would be a little bit disappointed currently with the quality that we still have available to us. And this is without any extra additions. If we didn't get 6th or higher, and if it was 6th, I'd want it to be 7th or a mile away from us. I do think Ant's sort of right. I think, if say Southampton shock us all and they actually piss the league and they get there, you may then find that it's us, Leeds, and someone else that are kind of battling for that 2nd and 3rd spot, and it might not be as easy to take it off Leeds in that situation. So, one of the three is going to miss out on automatic promotion. So that would be where I hope we're in the talk to. I would just about take it because we'd have a chance, obviously, but playoffs would still be a bit of disappointment, but 6 would be good.
You see, I just think that you're looking at teams here, and I had to pick 3 to go up, obviously the top 2 in the playoff. And I did, for hope, I do hope that Leicester are one of those 3, of course. But we can't disrespect the likes of Middlesbrough, Coventry, Sunderland, who were, up there fighting. And they've had those seasons down there. They know, we're going against 21 teams that we have no idea about. Now,
and we're also playing...
Like when a team comes up to the Premier League, like a Blackpool or something, and shocks everybody, we might do that, but we might also find, my God, it's a real lesson. And we're talking about a guy here, and this is why I wanted either Thomason from Blackburn or the guy from Ipswich, a guy who's not really had the experience at this sort of level in charge.
Yeah. And you've got to remember as well, 3/4 of the division, people need to cast their mind back. 3/4 of that division, whether it was 1 season or 10, have played in the Premier League. You mentioned one there with Blackpool, there's Blackburn, there's Sheffield Wednesday. The 3/4 of that division is not just very well settled in Championship football, but it's very settled in Premiership experience.
And we are 1 hour, 57 minutes into the show, and I finally agree with you. I totally agree with you on that one. Right, before we get distracted and go off on another topic, the last one that we are going to look at here, I'm just going to go up here and go a strip too far, a mixed reaction to the new away strip. World's worst kept secret, as most of the strips are these days. It was leaked. There we go. Best view of the show. You can't see me. It was even before we lost FBS. It was being said that this is what it was going to be. I absolutely love it. You will remember that I have a little bit of an issue with Leicester City this season and the shirts and the fact of what they did with JD Sports. And I refused, 2 reasons I refused to buy the new shirt, the blue one. One is that, the factor that they ripped the fans off and they've got no respect for us. And 2, the fact that I don't like it. But I normally end up buying it because it's the new shirt. But I said, no, I'm not going to this year because I was hoping that this was going to be our second shirt. I love it, love it, love it. I've got the black version up behind me on the wall. You can just see it there above the neck, just about there. That's the black one. It is from behind. I've also got two of the shirts because I outgrew one and I've outgrown the other from the original ones when we had. Before you say anything, and not when I say the original, I mean from the relaunched ones when we had our anniversary, not 1885 or whatever it was when we introduced it. Also got the white version up there as well. For anybody says, oh, it's Coventry blue. No, it's not. It's Cambridge blue is the official colour. We had this shirt before Coventry took their sky blue. That is not Coventry blue. And how do you pick a shirt and pick a colour that isn't Coventry? I guess you go for that. So then you can say it's Wolves. I actually like that. The more I see that is growing on me. Now, I might not be able to afford it because I've just bought the second, the away strip. But when that's in the sale at the end of the season, I will be buying that because it's a different colour. We haven't really had that apart from the grey one when the chairman sadly passed away. But going back to that one, Dave, let's go to you first of all. Like it, love it. Would you buy it?
I like it. Yeah, I would. I don't know. I'm not excited about shirts, to be honest. I'm a very much a first kit should be blue with white shorts. Second kit should be white with blue shorts. I wouldn't have red again. But I like that. Yeah, I mean it's okay.
But why wouldn't you have red again?
Well, because it was a shit kit, shit season, and everything went well. Lots of things went wrong. And also,
were we not in the Champions League that season?
For Forest. No, I mean, did we have a red shirt then? I don't know.
We did.
Okay, yes.
May I just remind you that I'm pretty sure that red kid debuted in a 5-0 thumping at Porto, but we'd already topped the group, bear in mind, at that point, so it was a bit redundant. It was almost like it was a pre-season friendly, Chris, wasn't it? It was redundant that game.
Yes, it was.
I was thinking more the Lineker days when we had the.
You're going way.
And we also had it in the Great Escape season. It was red kit.
Did we?
Yeah, I remember Cambiasso wearing it against Everton away.
Okay.
We had the red kit then.
Well, I don't like it anyway. So
the thing is, that's fine. It is all about opinions, even when they're wrong. But Dave, I mean, I want to just come back to this because a lot of people do say this, Dave. I don't like it because it's red. If it's the red shirt, like Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
But then, well, if we have white, that's a white shirt like Leeds United.
No.
If it's blue, our main strip, that's a blue shirt like Chelsea. Every shirt colour, apart from the pink one, is going to be like another team, isn't it? We can't get away from that.
But we wouldn't have a sky blue shirt, would we? And we shouldn't have a red shirt.
You say you never have a sky blue shirt.
We shouldn't have a sky blue shirt.
You know.
I wouldn't fucking buy it.
I'm just trying to warm him up, Chris.
Language, sir. That's the first time I think I've ever heard you swear.
Yeah, I mentioned Coventry. Mentioned sky blue, and
Brad, talk while I'm looking about these shirts. But what do you think of it?
I like it. Would I go out and buy it? I have more of a preference to the other two. I really like the home kit. I like the despite the JD thing. And in terms of looking at the kit, I really like the pattern in the back of the blue one. It kind of reminds me of like the Lynex shirt in its style, but I also had the old Walkers ones, which had the same with the badge in it. I like that. I think it's a good kit. The musky coloured one, I do actually like it. I think it's a bit out there for Leicester. It's nice to see what we look like in a different approach. Hell of a lot better than some other people's third and second kits. I'll say that much. I think it actually reminds me a little bit of Juventus's kit when they were sponsored by Jeep. I think they had a kit similar colour and it could look quite nice. I think it would work. The problem is, it's like getting a duplicate football card, isn't it? You've kind of seen us wear that before. That style. It looks like I'm looking at the back of the papers for the horse racing section, and I'm picking my jockey picked on what stripe and colour his outfit is. But I do remember it. I think I owned it for the anniversary kit. I think we also had it. Was it back in 2002, 2003? When was it? We was in the Premiership and we had Nallis.
Anniversary. I'm not sure. We'll have a look in a minute because we're going to go.
Yeah. Or was that an all black kit?
This question now.
He's regretting this question because we've turned a simple question into 3 answers. Bring possible answers.
Honestly, talk about fucking hell. I mean, this show was only supposed to last 20 minutes.
I've only been paid for an hour.
You're getting paid. I love that. It's the same thing then. Bannon
Have
Chris.
you not
Take
agreed that, have you, Brad? I'm giving you too much
power. Apparently I must have. I must have done it. Dave's paying himself at this rate.
It's been in the post for 6 months.
Right, let me show, now that you guys have taken what should have been a very, very simple question into what has been a completely bloody mild question. I bought it. I liked it. I'm not going to lie. I bought it on the day that it came out. I was on the computer. I was buying it. I absolutely love it. Right, let me share this because I'm going to show you. We can have a look and just see what colours we have had. Present, share screen. So I want to because Dave's sort of.
I've got one of those paintings that Terry
Oh,
yeah, I've got one of those with all the old kit on.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm fairly sure that
don't you, Dave?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, he was the designing artist behind them in his young age back then. Yeah, because I'm fairly certain we had an Alliance and Leicester sponsor when we had it once. That stripe.
Right, here we go.
So it's be interesting.
Yes, I think you're right.
Is right. So let me share this one first of all. So these are our shirts through the years.
I had an Admiral one as well.
Look at that. It was our first 1884 to 1886. Look at the shirt colours. Look, sky blue. David, 1900 to 1901. You would hate that.
And then we thought we were Aston Villa after the first one. Look.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually chocolate brown. We take the piss out of commentary, but that's chocolate brown and sky blue.
Printing casuals colours.
Shit chocolate. Just what we need.
Oh, look, red, 1903. But look at that. We thought we were Sheffield Wednesday in 1915 to 1990. Oh, carried on there to 1921.
Look at that blue. Look at this blue.
Then we went to the blue and white. Then we went to all white, if you remember.
Oh, I enjoyed the white one. That was a good... Well, I didn't play well.
As they say, as of course they do say, it will be all white on the night.
It will.
Yes. Thank you. Did I hear Brad?
I had that Admiral shirt. That was.
You did, mate.
Yeah.
That was weird material. That was.
It was. I have got when you order that as a replica shirt, which you can do, it actually comes through as the wool, and I can't wear it. It's too bloody hot. But that is the shirt that I loved. That reminded me of the shirt. Was it last season when we had the white collars and what have you? That one reminded me.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Admiral kit with that tracksuit, which I had as well. I played Dave Nish at badminton with that tracksuit on, the one on the right. Anyway.
Say that again, sorry. You played who?
Against David Nish when he was at Derby, and I wore that tracksuit for the game.
Boom!
Thank you very much.
Name drop there? Was that a name drop?
But that was the worst season, wasn't it? That was the McClintock years.
Oh, God, don't.
George Armstrong.
Oh, that's why we blame you. You were the jinx then, Dave, where you played badminton with Dave Nish and ruined the season.
Then we had blue and white again, 79. Look, 79 to 83. Bloody hell. 4 years of the same shirt.
I quite like that blue one.
Then we had what I call the Lynex shirt, and I do like this with the pinstripes, and I love the green. I've got both of these. I love them both. Now, 85 to 86. Here we go. Admiral. Red shirt, Dave.
Good point.
You were right, though.
That's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, that was the...
And 86 to 87, new sponsor. Basically the same shirt, though. Still red, blue, and red. Then we decided to have 3 shirts. The blue, the red again still. And then we brought in this gold, didn't we? Because you can't really call it yellow, can you?
No, it's gold.
No. And then look at that, red again. So basically from 85 to... Oh, my God, it's still going on. Look, it's still going on. 92. Oh, it's still red. It is still red.
And then we got promoted in what colour? Were we on red? Oh, no, look, we changed in the first division.
Yeah, we went to... I remember this. I wasn't particularly keen on this shirt. It had one of those horrible necks. But Blue, yellow, and of course white there for the
I don't
third
think we
kit.
wore the red shirt very often. I think we wore the white one more.
One of my favourite shirts ever there with the 94-95. I love both of those, as indeed we call it the Is It shirt, don't we, Brad?
Yes, it is. It is the Is It shirt. It's one of my favourite colours of the shirt that we had in that sort of era. I did like the well, we did at one point go with predominant yellow kit, but it was the goldy kit that I like. It's the Is It shirt for me.
Did go yellow, and there we go. We then it was only a third shit. It was only a third shirt, but I absolutely, God, I love this shirt. The halves, the blue and the green, absolutely love it. And then we came to sort of the Matt Elliott era.
They were big shirts, weren't they?
They were. Again,
Players kept ripping them, didn't they? That's why it was done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of sticking with the white, which to me, I agree with you on that, Dave. I do think of the white as our main secondary colour.
Yeah.
Then in 2001, we had a bit of a swap around and gold came back. You can't call it yellow, can you? Here we are, 2003, 2004. We had that as our second.
That's what I was on about,
Yeah. And then 4 and 5, it became our third strip because we had, do you remember that reversible one?
Oh, that was horrible.
Yeah.
That looked like a white bag that you'd left in the attic too long and it's got soggy, damp and gone off colour. Needed a dust.
Excuse me, I bought one of those. I've got one of those in my wardrobe.
That sounds like a you problem from where I'm standing.
No, but if you turn it inside out, it's a really nice dark shade of blue.
Yeah, probably should have kept it that side as well, to be honest with you.
And then look, we have the white one that I've got up there, signed by Milan himself. That was a weird yellow shirt that we had for a couple of seasons, wasn't it? With the blue kind of squiggly, circly, gone flat logos on.
But look at that, Chris. Kits that lasted a few seasons because there wasn't much difference at all between the changing of it. It was very much keep to your own, wasn't it?
Right. Now, I'm going to put out a plea here. We're going to turn into children in need. 2007, 2008. If anybody has an extremely very large away shirt, I love that, and I could not get it anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Blue and yellow one. They've got it, but just not in my size because I'm a fat bastard. We had that for a couple of years, tops. And then look, it came back again, 2009-10.
The 125th anniversary kit.
Yeah, and look, we had it for a couple of years.
Back when kits didn't change every 6 months.
Yeah, and then we started getting all the weird...
There's that red one again, look.
Yeah.
And there's the one I was on about. That was the Champions League one that Dave was on about. The one above that was the one where we played in the Great Escape.
I love that white one there, 2018-19, the third one. I absolutely love that. It's a bit of a strange one, that second one, wasn't it? It was grey with the gold on. Then we went,
looked like a Wolves third kit.
And then, of course, we've just started going mad of recent years. But there we go. Interesting to end with, gentlemen. But
I enjoyed that. Is anybody listening still?
Yes, we've lost a lot, but we have still got some in. And we've got a few comments just coming up here.
Well, chicken was ready about an hour and a half ago.
Season. I didn't remember that.
No, I didn't.
That was on the picture. It was. The red kit was. That's the one you had on the list. Go and watch the Great Escape season. I think it's Everton away. We might do it. We might even use it the game before.
It's only a couple of times.
I might have it, actually. I might actually have that. I'm not sure.
They weren't exactly too far apart in distance, were they? I think they just went a bit more red. I think it went fully red.
You know, you said to me about long sleeves, Dave.
Yeah.
I think I've got that red one in a long sleeve.
Wow.
Might have, because it was very black padded on the shoulders, wasn't it, that one, compared to the other one? The other one was full. Yeah. We went full Liverpool wank mode with that kit. That full red one.
Sheer wax. I'll go on then. Let's quickly do it. What are your favourite Leicester one? For me, if I had to pick one, I'm going for the blue and green half stripes. I absolutely love that. Dave?
1969 white one, final.
Oh.
Well, I've got to bring it back up now so people can see.
No, I doubt if you'll
He
have
has,
it.
he has to be awkward, didn't he? He couldn't just say last year's one or this year's one.
No. Oh, I haven't gone that far back. You bloody hell, you're going further back than
I've got that.
Computer says no.
No.
Do you know why we... No, hang on. Do you know why... Brad will know this, but do you know why we wore white when we didn't clash with Manchester City?
Yes, yeah, I do.
And the answer?
Oh, sorry. It's because black and white telly.
You see, Brad?
Did he get that one wrong?
Funny enough, Dave, yeah, when I thought a question would be relevant to Leicester City's history, not some random poxy black and white telly history, I got it wrong, mate, because I didn't think back then.
It used to happen when Liverpool played Everton. It was a nightmare.
That's getting clipped. Dave, mate, I love you, Dave. I love you, brilliant. Quickly, well, before I completely collapse, Brad, what was yours?
Mine was the 96-97 blue home shirt in terms of outfield kits, and ironically, it actually has my all-time favourite goalkeeping kit from that year. I know we can't see it, but yeah, that was it. That one there, yeah, that was my favourite one. I like the blue kit. Yeah, I mean, it was either that or the years it won just above it in the orange. That was probably second, but that was my favourite kit. But my all-time favourite is the goalkeeping kit from that one. I love the dark green and camo sort of look to it. And if anyone knows how I can get hold of that in a men's large, not Chris's size, please let me know, because I'd love to have that kit back. I remember the padding it had on the elbow. I used to love that being a goalkeeper.
Was that the Kevin Paul one?
It was technically it should have been. No, that was a purpley blue. That was also it was also padded. That was more padded on the shoulder. This was just the underarm.
The Zelko.
Yeah, the Spider Calich, yeah. That one was still a good kit. I'd like to get hold of that myself for just to have it in a collection. But the one that it was Kevin Paul was the number 1 jersey, because Katey Keller, when he first signed for some Millwall, was number 13. Wish you'd asked me that fucking question in the quiz, but no. I get asked what number 23 is in the current squad, and where did we sign bloody Steve Guppy from? And I got my black and white kits confused. But it's all right. It's all right, mate. I don't hold it against you. I'm not bitter. I'm not saying that if I had played as Craig's Chris, I'd have done better and been top and ahead of Dave. But let it go. Let it go.
It's only a game.
I love the fact that Dave knew that. That has made... I don't care what a shit day I've had. That's made my day. Oh, God. And he hasn't noticed for the past hour that his name's changed.
Oh, yes, I have. I'm just adding up the fines, mate. Adding up the pound notes.
As I say, if you want to listen to me in the morning, you ain't going to hear me. Dave, if you can stay online, because I just want to have a chat with you. Brad, it's up to you. You can if you want to. Thank you very much, both. It's been a long one.
It has.
I bet Kathy's not
said that. That's what she said.
Well, I hope she's got my chicken in the oven. Hey.
That was foul.
Oh, for God's sake. You pair of clucking mad.
You heard about the chicken at the airport?
That's a turkey. Sorry.
The guy went up when he was at the airport, went to the desk, and he goes, said, "No, sir, this is the check-in desk." Thank you, gentlemen. I will speak to you in a second. This is what they want. Bye. Thanks, but they won't come back on again, will they? Thank you very much to everybody. Thank you to Brad. Thank you to Dave. Nearly got it wrong there. It's been a long one, but I think it's been a laugh. It's been a laugh. I needed that today. Sub if you're new, like if you're not. Sweet dreams, Luke. I will see you. I am back on Wednesday with the young lady, Ari. I've got her back on. She's doing the quiz. Can she get more than you? We will see. But thank you to everybody that was tuned in. If you were listening on the podcast, thank you so very much for lending me your ears. I will see you on Wednesday at 8 o'clock. I've been Chris. This has been LTiD TV. This is Arnie. Good night.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You'd better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.